Today we are going to do chicken soup. It's not pastina Lilybug, but I am thinking of you when I make this. Pastina is like a Italian Jewish chicken soup, nourishment for the soul, and my granddaughter's favorite thing on the earth. But I'm just going to do a bog standard chicken and vegetable soup because so many people tell me that they really battle to make soup. So here we go. I'm using the veggies that I have in my fridge, and I've got some olive oil in the pan, and I am going to put in some leeks, and I have carrots, butternut, baby marrow, mushrooms, Swiss chard spinach as we call it, and then I have to have potatoes because my name is Shane after all, and the Irish ancestry will not allow me not to have potatoes. And some chicken. So we're just going to saute these veggies. That's the thing that should happen with soups, is that you always start with a saute. Gives it flavor and helps it along. So I'm just going to bung it all in. And I've got 2 cloves of garlic which I am adding because it's a natural antibiotic. So with winter coming and everyone's fear of the dreaded virus, it's a good thing to have in your system at all times. So we're just going to sweat this off a little bit. So this has been sweating down. I'm now going to add the free-range chicken to that. And I don't need to get colour on this, I just need it to cook a little bit. It's a little bit frozen still, but that's fine, because I cut it into small pieces. I'm also going to add some thyme at this stage. If you've got fresh thyme, use fresh thyme. It's probably about half a teaspoon, or a teaspoon actually. So you can see this is a really uncomplicated thing to do. The flavors that you're going to get are going to be from sweating down your veggies, letting those flavors mingle and develop, because they're getting a little bit of caramelization on them. And then because this is the real world, we don't all have beautiful 6-hour chicken stock that we've made sitting around. I'm going to use chicken stock pots. I would use these over stock cubes any day of the week. If you don't have stock pots, then you by all means use stock cubes, but they're just very high in salt, and I just don't find that the flavor is as good. If you are lucky enough to have cartons of pre-made chicken stock, then that's great. Obviously now if you want to make a vegetable soup, you omit the chicken and you use veggie stock pots instead. Right, now I'm adding my potatoes, which I've put in water so that they don't oxidize. The nights are getting colder, the mornings are really dark, and this is the perfect way to call in that evening before you go to bed. To have a delicious pot of soup. I've got some sourdough rising, so I will have homemade sourdough to go with the soup. I'm also going to use the leftover tomato sauce that I made for the pizzas yesterday. So there's not a lot of it, but it's a way to use up leftovers, and it will just give a little bit more flavor without making it too tomatoey. And now I'm going to put in my spinach. I've kept most of the stalks on here. The stalks are really nutritious. We tend to throw all of these things away. But for something like soup, they're great. They give lovely texture, They're very nutritious, as I said, so use things like that. So this is the base of the soup done. A great big old chicken and vegetable stew, really. And now I'm going to add my stock pots. I'm going to put 2 in here, which will just boost the chicken flavor because I haven't got masses of chicken breasts. And because I didn't have any celery, I finished all my celery. I'm going to use some celery salt. If you don't have celery, this is a good sort of substitute. And if you can ever get your hands on celery seeds, they are the most wonderful things ever. You can put half a teaspoon of celery seeds in stews and things like that, and you get the most amazing celery aroma and flavor if you haven't got any fresh celery. And I usually always have celery seeds, but they're really difficult to find. So I have run out. I need to try and source some more. Right, so now I'm going to put in enough water to cover this. So that's 2 liters of water in there. And then I'm just going to let this cook away gently and beautifully. And it will be the most delicious soup. Let's put some pepper in. I'm not going to add salt because I've added celery salt and I've got 2 stock pots in here. So I'm going to keep it simple, just sort of pepper, thyme, celery salt, stock pots, and then I will add a little bit of salt at the end if it needs it. I'm not going to add any other spices or herbs to it. I just want this to be a simple vegetable soup and chicken, sorry. Right, lid on and it can simmer away. Because it's late autumn, I've decided to make this more substantial and add pearl barley. This is pearl barley. You can buy it in your pulse section of any supermarket. And it really gives this gorgeous nutty texture and makes it a more substantial soup. So I'm going to add 2 handfuls of this. This will swell and soak up those flavors. I've added another stock pot because this is about 3 liters of soup. So I've added another stock pot, and I'm going to add some lemon because it needs a little bit of acid. And you won't really taste it, but it will just round it off. And I've got eggs poaching over here for breakfast for us. And then that should give it a nice balance. The soup is now ready. I want to just show you what the pearl barley looks like. Can you see these little nuggets like this? Looks like very swollen rice. So they've swelled beautifully and they will add a little bit of substance to the soup. So at this point, if you wanted to blend the soup, you should really do it without the chicken being in there. Chicken, once it's cooked, is horrible when it's blended. If you ever want to blend it, then you really need to do it when the chicken is raw. Or blend it first and then add the chicken. I'm going to leave it like this because I want a little bit of chunk in my soup. So that's ready. Here, I just wanted to show you quickly, this is the sourdough that I've got. It's done its first rise. I've now put it into the floured sourdough basket. And this is what I was telling you about the time before, where if you don't have a basket, you can use a colander with a clean tea towel, which is well floured. So I'm going to leave it now to rise over the next couple of hours and then bake it off. And then that will be ready for the soup. Just want to have a shout out to my friends. I've had the most amazing support and we've got really, truly wonderful friends, and I feel very, very blessed to have you in my life anyway, and thank you.